Hello, everyone, and welcome to Downright Mindful. This is Matt, and I wanted to just talk you into a conversation that Paul and I are about to have. We were on the road quite a bit this week, traveling to watch the Walker Valley Lady Mustangs softball team win their first ever state championship. So, congratulations to those ladies. On the way back from the championship game, we decided to press record and try to get in a little podcast episode for you that stems from a conversation that we've been having about personality traits. Now, I'm going to clue you into this conversation. It is in a car, so the audio is not quite what you're used to with us, but it's good enough. And there's even a little bit of a surprise in the middle that you're not going to believe. But I left as much of it in as I could, and hopefully you have a little bit of a laugh out of it. So, without further ado, I'll get you right into the conversation. Welcome to Downright Mindful. Stories that stick, questions that matter, and conversations that make you think. Let's get right down to it.
Okay. Let me just double check and make sure that I'm showing I'm showing two red lights. All right, so look, I know we all have a palate for music, just like we do for certain foods or literature, whatever it is. But gosh, dog, Ricky Skaggs, man, to my ears is like the smell of honeysuckles in the spring.
What if I told you I didn't like honeysuckles?
Do I just keep straight here, or do you know?
No, 70.
Okay. Did you say you don't like honeysuckles?
Yeah.
Nobody dislikes the smell of honeysuckles. Find me that person.
You found it, man. They're overwhelming. They don't smell sweet.
Stop right now.
They're not sweet.
Are you?
The honey is fun to eat. That is sweet. The smell is not.
I would challenge you to find me a more savory, natural fragrance on the planet.
No.
It's with roses.
I love roses. I just stopped and smelled the roses yesterday. They were yellow.
And you're telling me
I loved every
when you're
bit of
walking down the trail and you smell that honeysuckle fragrance
I don't like it.
floating in the
It's too
air,
much.
you don't like it. Oh my, what? Oh,
I was down in Charleston, South Carolina a month ago. And just outside, we stayed at this little bed and breakfast at this little courtyard. I was out there writing, and I was just, man, it was too much.
yeah.
It was overwhelming. But I still went over there and did my little, pulled the string out, taste a little drop of honey.
Well, what about
Sweet.
the taste?
Yeah, I love it.
Is it awesome?
Plus, it reminds me of being a young daddy and Sarah, showing the boys, and I'd be like, "What are you doing?" I'd never seen anything like that in my life. So yeah, that was cool.
So why is it that we don't jar honeysuckle nectar? Is it because you'd have to have 1,000 acres of honeysuckles to get like one little jar?
A million, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because bees do a better job.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah, I'd say you're right. Just be careful with that seatbelt against that, because
I'm trying.
that'll create some
Then I
problems.
need to put it somewhere. Look, I mean, how are you not?
I'm a fat guy, man. I got like a whole table on my belt, Just in case someone should ever listen to this conversation, let's bring them into what's happening here. We are on the road. The Walker Valley Lady Mustangs softball team has just secured its first state championship.
State champs.
And first of all, my voice I feel like a bass singer right now because my voice is about gone from yelling for those girls. And the energy in my body is kind of zapped. I'm not gonna lie. It's zapped. They wore me out.
For
But
good
man,
reason.
what
Yeah.
a freaking game.
Yeah, it was amazing.
What a game. It was all the dramatics
I was telling you earlier, I mean, I know you were on the sideline for state football games, but I mean, just that same energy. You're nervous as a fan. You're yelling. You're up. You're down. You're up again. You win. Yeah, it had it all.
Yeah. That energy, man, that's something else. As a football coach on the sidelines, we used to have to try to, like, it's a good thing when you're having good things happen in a game and you're trying to manage the energy.
Yeah.
Does that make sense to you at all?
Yeah,
Does
but
that
as a fan,
to...
you can just let loose.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. And if things aren't going well, I mean, you still can just let loose and try to create more energy from where you're at, that distance.
Yeah.
But softball's fun because, I mean, you can be loud, you can be obnoxious, you can be fun.
How many train horns have we seen on a Makita drill in the last 2 days?
12.
It's a bunch. It's a bunch, man.
It's like a competition.
Yeah. But gosh, man, congratulations to those ladies and those coaches and those fans and those parents. What a ride for a kid like Bugs. Her whole life has probably been on a softball field, and to get that experience at the end of her senior year, man, it's a big deal. Big deal. Glad for her. Happy for those people.
Blackwell, Davenport. Who's the other seniors on there?
I don't. Past that, I don't know. Is there any more?
I don't know.
Well, so we're on the road back from there, and we enjoy sort of taking the scenic route. So we just came through McMinnville, Tennessee, and we are, I don't know where we are, Paul. You know where we are? What do you call this place?
I think we're actually in McMinnville right now.
Are we in McMinnville right now? Okay. All right, so we're in McMinnville. We're going to snake our way over through. Do we got to go back through Pikeville?
Yes.
I hope so. I like that little drive. But yeah, so that's where we are. So we've strapped some mics on, and we made this drive yesterday and had a heck of a conversation that I wish was on a recording for some of our people to hear and get in the conversation with us. So to not take that chance again, we just pressed record and just shoot the breeze, man.
Shoot it. Take the first shot.
Well, we were listening to Ricky Skaggs sing just a love letter to his parents. That's a song I've heard as long as I can remember. I've heard that song, and I really like it. And that's probably why Ricky Skaggs plays so much to my taste in music. Just his voice and his skill set, man, is just it's special. It's something else. But I didn't want to turn these mics on and talk about music unless you can carry that conversation in a different direction.
Well, if you would have used a different analogy than honeysuckle, I probably could, but you didn't. So
I can't believe how does let's go there.
No,
I would have
do not want to talk
never
about honeysuckle.
dreamed someone didn't like the smell of honeysuckles.
Now it's the smell of spring. It's the smell of new season. I do recognize that, but it's just I don't know. But I'm allergic to everything, so maybe that's wrapped up in there somewhere.
Yeah. Let's go back where we were yesterday. We started that conversation off with some traits that are present in some people, and we were talking about it from the perspective of like, which of those traits do we think that we have, and we even sort of gave our perspective of each other too in some of those. I'm going to send this to you so I don't have to be too distracted.
Yeah, no distracted driving, please.
Yeah.
Matt is driving just in case something happens. Let's get that on driver's record.
All right, so I just sent you a list of those personality traits that we were sort of toying around in yesterday, and you can go in any order you want. We can talk through some of the stuff we talked about yesterday, or we can go to the end of the list and go backwards. That's where we are in Tennessee. That's how long it took to send a text message.
That's so true. That's so true.
Man, Highway 70, Highway 30. If people aren't driving those highways, they need to get back on them. It's like, I don't want to say stepping back in time. I don't think that's the right analogy to use, but you do get to see some things that you don't see from the interstate.
Yeah, you see a lot of green. You see a lot of trees. You're reminded of how much farmland really is out there. You're reminded of, it's not necessarily just the slower pace of life. I mean, it could be for, this spot right here that I'm staring at. Technology still exists. I mean, we just went to Sonic and we just witnessed a grandfather and a grandson sitting. And grandson on his phone the whole entire time, and I was, in my head, I was cheering for him the whole entire time to please put your phone down. Your granddaddy is trying so dang hard. But, I mean, props to Grandpa because he just kept trying. After every barely getting a response, and he'd wait about 90 seconds, and then he'd ask another question. He'd show something from his phone, a video one time, pictures at another time, and I mean, he just kept trying.
Yeah.
I kept cheering for that young fella, and he never did just truly engage someone that you could tell just loved him a bunch. So, people are people. Young people are young people. Grandpas are grandpas. But it is different out here, and I appreciate it. I appreciate the space that still exists. We're headed back to, suburbia.
Yeah.
I'm thankful for that, too. I like my neighbors. I like my neighborhood.
Yeah, for sure. I can say something about the weather, too. Man, we've had the best weather. The bluest skies with those little white clouds, just like you want to see it. It's been a good couple days.
Yeah. And end of another school year, man.
Yeah. Ready for the summer.
So when you look at these traits, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times 3, 24, something that comes up in my class so often is, well, it just depends. And I have learned how to go, excellent point. So give me an example on either side of, this, whether it be a debate or an argument or just a dang story has more than one layer. Tell me what you mean, rather than just that your get out of jail free card of it depends and you don't have to say yes or no or true or false.
Yeah, so I can say it depends as long as I give you some context.
Give it a clarifier.
I think that's fair.
Yeah. So, you come across right here, dry humor, contrarian, raw. Like, how often do you get raw with folks? How often do you engage in such a way where as a contrarian, you're stirring the pot? How often do you use dry humor? Does it really depend? What do you think about those three if I just throw them out there and you pick one?
Well, yeah, I think that's three that all, it depends. Like dry humor, I think that is something that I do. I don't know if, I would say I probably do it more than I realize it. But I do enjoy a little dry humor. I think some of the best humor is dry humor. When you start talking about folks like, examples in the media of folks like David Spade. Is that dry humor? Is that what we're talking about? Just that straight-faced, like there's just a humorous point to make and you make it and sort of put the attention to it and then you move on.
Yeah. You David Spade, huh? You just pull some Tommy Boy out of your head, or
no? I think if we talk dry humor and we start
Joe Dirt. I mean, are you a David Spade fan? And I didn't know it.
Tommy Boy, that character that he plays in Tommy Boy,
sure.
That guy's dry humor for 2 hours.
Yeah.
He lets the humor be what it is. He only draws attention to it with almost no emotion. I think that's probably the number one example that I can think of. I have a friend that used to work at Walker Valley named Jordan Wilcutt. He's a dry humor guy. Nate Bargatze, that's another name here lately. That he's got some dry humor happening with him. So, am I good at it? No, I wouldn't say that I'm good at it, but I think I enjoy it enough that I think I probably try to mimic it in conversation from time to time.
Am I good at it? Yeah, I just chuckled inside of myself because I wanted you to finish what you were saying, and I didn't want you to be distracted by my laughter. But like humor, this is what I found. Like, who cares if someone else thinks it's funny? If I think it's funny, it's funny.
Yeah,
you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But dry humor, you know, when I watch you, you know, you'll say something, you'll say a joke, or you'll be being funny. And the beauty of it is you wait for the other person to get it. You wait for the other person to laugh before you do. Because, you know, if you laugh early with dry humor, then, like, you're giving it away, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's a little cat and mouse.
There's definitely some cat and mouse. There's some pacing involved in it.
It's all timing, right?
But I guess where I have trouble explaining it is there's, like, this thin line between what I would consider dry humor and you're, in my opinion, you're sort of you're towing the line of sarcasm at times. Not the kind of sarcasm where you're trying to hurt somebody or make them feel bad about themselves, but the kind of sarcasm that's funny, you know.
Yeah, good-natured.
Yeah. Raw. Let's skip over contrarian for just a second. Are we talking about I just pull off all the filters and I just say what it is and what I mean?
That sounds like the definition of raw to me.
Because one of two things is going to have to be present for me to just be raw at, 41 years old. Either you're one of my guys, like you're that dude that I don't speak with any filters on, and I can say things, and it's, one of my best friends hearing me, so they know my heart. They know, oftentimes I'm saying those things with a question mark on the end, waiting on feedback. That's about as raw as I'm going to get. Or should a time arise when there's some hill really worth dying for, something that I would really be passionate about, I could see myself communicating in a raw kind of way, but I can't even think of examples of when I've been that. And contrarian, let's talk this one through, because I don't know if I understand it completely. When I read the word contrarian, I see someone that's like abrasive and like just questions everything in a way to where I'm not going to trust your word on it. You're going to have to explain to me every little thing, and I'm going to argue. I'm going to play the devil's advocate and challenge what you're saying. Is that contrarian?
I can go with all that. Sure.
Because I'm not sure that I have a whole lot of that in me. Because
there's the devil playing devil's advocate for fun. Yeah. Or even as like a critical thinking exercise. Yeah. And it's another thing to actually like be the devil, and the devil is advocating for the other side, and you have chosen to be the devil in this scenario. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like,
yeah,
to truly go to that place to try to turn people to the other side.
Yeah. And it's like maybe trying to test an idea. Like you say something and I'm testing your resolve or your knowledge or your whatever it is that you're giving about that idea. I could see me using that as a tool, but I don't think it's something I do quite a bit. I mentioned to you yesterday, and I still think it's true, that I'm a whole lot more non-confrontational than I probably used to be, or maybe thought I was. And that contrarian is sort of edging toward confrontational for me, if I'm understanding it right. And again, there's so many times when I would rather, if someone says something, especially if they say it with passion and they're just convinced, it could be them saying, hey, the sky is green or the sky is purple, whatever. It could be so wrong. I wouldn't challenge it at all. I just move on.
So it depends.
No, I don't think that one depends.
If you're in certain circles with certain people at a certain time, don't you feel a little bit more energy to maybe be that devil's advocate, or at least to show another side before we move on? Or
yeah, well, yeah, I guess so. At times, I have heard people, say things, but they didn't say it with passion. They weren't standing on that hill to defend it. They were kind of, like I said a minute ago, they're saying it with a question mark, and I have, as a tool to help them come to whatever realization they want to end at, I'm trying to sort of guide them through what my thought process would be on that certain topic. I mean, this is like being a high school teacher 101, because there's so many teenagers that could make a statement and you hear that question mark on the end, and I do not feel like in most cases that it's my place to just give them an answer. But I will start poking at their statement with some meaningful questions, hopefully causing them to challenge whatever that statement is that they're making. And all I'm doing is I'm sort of mirroring a thought process for them.
Yeah.
So if that would be considered contrarian, then yeah, it for certain depends.
Well, that's one thing to say, hey, on the contrary, and you give another side. It's another thing to be a contrarian, which now it's turning that into a noun, where that's like you're that person in the room, where this is about resolved, and they're like, well, what if? And like they do the one more what if after we've kind of came to a consensus, just to continue to bring into the room.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I think to be a part-time contrarian is a healthy thing. I think that we need that for each other.
Sure.
But no one likes that person in the room.
Yeah, I don't want that to be your only tool. But I do enjoy having a on the contrary guy around me from time to time.
Well, that kind of goes with this next triplet. Analytical mindset, cynical, sarcastic. Because to be a cynic, I mean, like, you're analyzing it, right? And to be sarcastic, you're kind of analyzing it. But to have that analytical mindset compared to a cynical mindset, to a sarcastic mindset.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Sarcastic, I believe that if it's not for fun, meaning both ends of this deal are having a good time, I don't believe I like it. I do not. Like, if you use sarcasm with me with no fun involved, I want to punch you in the face. You know what I mean? So I don't want to do that to you. I don't, just to be sarcastic, just to be an a-hole. No, I don't. That's not fun.
Gets people to laugh, though.
Does it?
Yes. Sure it does. If you're sarcastic and you get other people to laugh at the target, yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm not a fan.
I learned how to do that at 15, 16, 17. Then I met this girl at 19, and she said, you're just not as attractive when you're sarcastic.
Yeah.
Okay. And little by little, I began to lay it down. Because instead of being sarcastic or being cynical, like, what? She doesn't know what she's talking about. Nah, this is someone who cared about me, and I cared for them, and I listened, and I used more of a analytical mindset to the feedback that she was given. She wasn't a jerk about it, you know. That was really eye-opening, because being quick and witty, you can get some laughs, and you can turn quick and witty into sarcastic, and those laughs can be at the expense of someone else. And as you know, if you're insecure enough, that's all you need. As long as someone's laughing at what I said, I'll keep doing it, even if someone else gets hurt, as long as it's not me. You know, I've lived that life, and I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to live that life anymore.
You ever had someone be sarcastic with you just one-on-one, and it wasn't funny?
Yeah, it's never funny one-on-one, is
Like
it?
they weren't laughing, you weren't laughing. They're just being an a-hole.
Yeah.
Like I don't have any. I don't have a whole lot of moves for that other than I'm probably not going to continue this conversation. Analytical, yeah, I would say that I'm heavy on that to the point of I probably overanalyze a lot of times.
Well, that over makes you a good detective, right? I mean, those over skills is what makes you good at one particular thing.
Yeah.
But overanalyzing, like in, let's say, relationships rather than a profession, wow, that can get you into a spot that's tough to get out of.
Yeah. It's some of it's sort of like a social anxiety almost for me.
Keep
Like,
going.
I'm not the guy that, here we were at the Sonic earlier, and I'm sitting out there by myself eating, and you had gone to the restroom to wash up, and I'm just there by myself eating. Super uncomfortable for me.
Were you?
Not a fan.
Why?
It's not something you did to me. Don't get me
No.
wrong.
I'm not being defensive.
But yeah, I'm.
I kind of, when you got up and went back to the car and said, hey, I'm going to go try to figure this out over here.
I had something to do, and I didn't do that because I was uncomfortable. Because once you came out and sat down, I could have spent some time with you there, but I really did want to go to the car and figure out.
No,
this
what
thing.
I'm saying is I was comfortable.
Yeah,
When you left, I give it a minute, stretch my legs, just take a breath.
yeah.
That's also when I was watching old grandpa and grandson have their little interaction.
I eat lunch at school with Wade Sacka all the time, and he talks about before he was a teacher. He came from the field like I did. Before he was a teacher, he would go to lunch in public places and hold his fork in his right hand and a book in the left hand. And if someone approached him to talk to him, it kind of perturbed him. He didn't like it. He just wanted to sit by himself in a restaurant and read.
Yeah, I love those moments too.
Uh,
Usually people do leave you alone in open spaces with a book.
Yeah.
Is that not you? You don't take a book to a public space?
I've never went into a public space and sat down by myself to eat.
What?
That doesn't even make sense to me.
What?
I know. I'm not telling you this is a strength. I'm telling you there's this, and that's where we're
Do you
going.
assume that because Sarah and I were having this conversation the other day, and we've had it before just for fun, but like you're in a restaurant and there's someone that sits down by themselves and you notice that no one else comes and, oh, okay, they are eating. Automatically assume, oh, they must be a widow. Some tragedy has struck them and they are now alone.
No, there's some little voice in my head that comes from anxiety that says everybody's looking at you. That's the over. Listen, don't laugh. It's not funny. That's the over. Stop laughing at me, Paul. That's the overanalyzation that I'm talking.
Yes.
I'm in my mind in those moments. Now, when I'm in my good thoughts, I can fight with that voice. I've been doing it my whole life and tell it to sit down. But in those moments, in my mind, I'm overanalyzing the idea that anybody gives a crap what I'm doing.
Yeah. Well, the word says analytical. It doesn't say overanalyze. You just hijack this whole entire mindset
Right, see,
by overanalyzing.
point made. I overanalyzed the word analytical. So
I want you to take that next book that you are so into and that it's just a page turner for you, and I want you to go to a public place, order something, and
absolutely not.
sip something and just read that book.
My back's to the wall. If you force me into that situation, I'm
Okay.
going to put my back to the wall and I'm going to say, how you doing to everybody that comes in the door.
Well, if you ever engage with Wade Saka at lunch in that conversation,
If I ever see Wade Saka sitting in a restaurant with a book, I'm going to walk over and sit down.
you have to tell him that Salisville said, "Oh yeah, totally."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm aware. I've lived a long enough life to know that that's pretty normal for people to do.
See, here's the thing. This gets into the next one. Okay, self-aware, high energy, thoughtfulness. Okay, so overanalyzing is a element of being thoughtful. It's also an element of being self-aware. High energy. See, these things are not for all the people that aren't looking at this list you sent me. They're not connected one by one by one. I'm just reading across the way, and it's just it's creating a multiple paths for you to take as we engage in this conversation.
Yeah.
But that line drops to this line of thoughtfulness and self-awareness, along with high energy. Like, we just went to a softball state championship. We brought some energy, you and I.
Yeah.
To where most of the time we're just content. We're just content to observe. And like content being like a good thing. Like not a middle ground, I'm almost bored, but I'm okay. I'm just chilling. But like just content, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, we were, every time we scored a run, hooping, hollering.
Yeah, man.
I'm high-fiving Holly, Laura, Doris, and Matt. You know, I mean, how often do you go high energy?
If I feel that a moment calls for it, then I'll go. I'll go with you.
Okay, so this was one. Can you gather a fistful? Can you think of 4 other times?
I can think of one automatically but it's just going to be another sports reference.
That's fine.
Well, I learned, you heard Richard Jackson say yesterday, ask Matt, he's a big energy guy, even though you who are very close to me probably would never say Matt's an energy guy.
But you like that word. You teach that word.
I do.
Right? You emphasize that word.
In team sports, it is everything. And in team, everything outside of sports, because the energy there translates to attitude, teamwork, those kind of things.
That is often mistaken for volume.
Often mistaken for volume. That's right.
And that's not what we're talking about. We are talking about all that body language and all that juice and all that bounce converts into positivity on that field, on that court.
Yeah, and you heard me say as we left the ball game, there were some things I didn't voice through the middle there, man, but that the energy, the highs were super high, the lows were low. Now, anything I would have said to you sitting right beside you would have just been an analytical observation, but it would have came across as negativity in that moment. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it's all context.
And when analyzation can be mistaken for negativity, I try to just not say it. I just try to keep it to myself.
Sure. Let's read in the room.
Yeah, you just read the room. But I was coaching like Pee-wee football, man. Kyler's 7-year-old football team. And we just, we were all about energy and sort of trying to manage that energy from being high highs and low lows to sort of staying in this groove of like we're on our toes, we're peppy, but we're not like hooping and hollering and jumping, because those things, you almost get a hangover from those things. And if you catch that too early, well, you're probably right toward the end of a game. And in close games, that's a pretty important time. But it came down to, okay, so we're in our little league, we were a good little football team. We beat the brakes off of people. And then we get to our little Super Bowl, and I was like, for 7-year-old football, I think I was taking it a little too seriously. And
buddy, we got to turn around.
Oh, do we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like ASAP?
Yeah.
All right.
We're heading north to Cookville.
Going to Cookville.
Yeah, and we don't want to. We want to head south.
Yeah.
To Dunlap.
Well, thank you for looking at that, because I would have kept on driving for quite a ways.
So
I'm gonna catch this Yui right here. See, I'm taking 7-year-old football a little too seriously, and the whole point to the story and the energy is, I was a little tense, and it kind of took me out of character, and all of those 7-year-old boys just went out and just laid an egg, man. The energy was off. They're out of character. They're tense. And I sort of came to the conclusion that those boys just matched me. They matched me is what they did.
Yeah.
So the next year, we're in the same exact situation. And I'm telling adults around me, do not mention the word Super Bowl. Do not change a thing. And if you can't come out here to help without like a peppy smile on your face, stay home. Stay in go to the stands and cheer. Well, those guys are all like good. One of them's Derek Kent. Like that dude comes out and he's like, yeah, here we go. He's clapping and we're just upbeat. We're positive. We didn't change a thing. We're not talking about winning or losing the Super Bowl. And we go out and those boys' energy was unreal. Unreal, to the point that the opposing coach comes over after the game and he's like, what in God's name did you feed these boys? Because there were kids that, they didn't stand out at tryouts and nobody knew their name, that were just flying all over the place, man. And
that kind of energy, that's contagious.
That's contagious. Yeah. And it starts with the place that they're all looking for their, like, you ever heard someone say, like, sometimes a team will adapt to their coach's mentality?
Sure.
I believe there's at least some truth to that. And especially at 7-year-old, man. And that's where, that's where the whole happy, hyper hostile thing came from that I talk about still to this day sometimes. And like, we're getting ready for that second Super Bowl, and that coach is over there saying, across the sidelines, probably saying something like, okay, boys, it's this one more win and we win a champion. And I'm over in my huddle going, hey, is the grass green? Yeah. Is the sky blue? Yeah. God good? Yeah. Let's go play football, man. It's the most Hallmark movie dad football coach thing you've ever seen. But it made 7-year-olds have a blast.
Yeah.
So yeah, when I feel it's appropriate. But my natural is even at that softball game, I have to fight it and purposefully have energy and fake it a little bit, because there's something in me that while everybody's enjoying that moment, I just want to stand and watch them and just soak it in that way.
Yeah.
But you know what? Somebody's going to look across the crowd and be like, Paris is negative. He's not even clapping. So, I'm overanalyzing. I would hate for one of those softball players to look up and see the criminal justice teacher in the stands with his arms folded. Nobody's doing that. But
well, if they know you're the criminal justice teacher, that means they probably had you for criminal justice, which means they probably know you. And like, they get you. Once people know you and they get you, then, it's either you decide then to lean into the relationship because there's some awareness, or we had this conversation partly yesterday about just like, you get to a place when you're doing the thing that you really want to do and you just don't give a crap what other people think. Yeah, keep going. 111 South.
Okay.
And that you get to that place where you don't give a crap of what other people think, and it's a very freeing experience and opens up place, I believe, in the creative mind, just to discover things, think of things. Man, your make-believe now becomes like embedded with hope that this could actually be a thing. Like, that's cool. But like, if we're wondering what someone else is going to think, even to the point of what are our boys going to think? What's Sarah and Valerie going to think? Well, I mean, sometimes it doesn't matter what someone else thinks if we are doing something we really want to do and it doesn't harm someone else. Like, yeah, when we get to be our most genuine self, yeah, that's a pretty high energy experience, however it expresses itself in the nonverbals or the volume. You get to run with it. Self-awareness, thoughtfulness, or, I'm going to backtrack. Can you get out of sports to have a high energy situation that you can think of for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, it would be anything from, the Christmas parties with the nieces and nephews to, organizing and leading a team in on a search warrant. You know what I mean? I want my energy to be well.
No, I do not know what you mean on that one.
I want,
and the guitar is probably in your hand on the other scenario.
But you absolutely don't have the experience to know what I mean, but you know what I mean.
Sure.
But as a guy who's been the head basketball coach of a,
we're trying to get out of
high
sports.
school basketball. I know, but
yeah,
here we go.
I know what it's like to be in front of a crowd though, and all eyes on you, and you're supposed to keep talking for 20, 30, 45 minutes. Yeah.
Well, you also know what it's like to be in front of 5 people who are in a crowd and they have some unsureties. They can't look at you and see uncertainty. You understand what I mean?
No, I do understand what you mean.
I can't tell the guys, hey, the last time we pulled this person over, they had several guns on them. My energy has to be right. I have to know what I'm doing.
I have to have south right here.
I got you. I have to have a plan.
I get it.
And my attitude's got to be right in order to get the best out of it. Because it's just like it's a sports is a microcosm. I say that all the time. It's true.
Oh, I agree with you all the time.
Those
Sure.
5 dudes that are going in the search warrant with me and sort of have a little bit of my life in their hands, I want them to be at their best. And I believe that my attitude and my energy and my planning and preparation for what we're about to do can maximize that person's ability. So that's kind of a sports reference too, even though it's not a sport.
Sincere, intellectual, awkward. Can we be awkward by being intellectual? Can we try to raise the bar in the conversation and that create an awkward situation?
I don't know the answer to that. I don't know.
I'm going to say that one again. Being in certain circles, a job, church, anywhere where there's just constant, polite conversation amongst people. Polite now. Being friendly. But we ain't saying nothing meaningful. It just keeps going. And we're still waiting on something. So it's either awkward silence or somebody's frivolous conversation. And then you step into that and you say something a little bit more meaningful. And it creates an awkward tension of, is anyone else going to follow this into something beyond, we say all the time, weather, or kids, or sports. And can we have maybe a 4-minute meaningful conversation? Can we take this to a 12-minute meaningful lunch conversation rather than, and it's just an attempt to elevate the conversation to something that, maybe we can pause and pick up later. But you've got to have someone else do that, or else you're seen as the awkward one. I think I've been there quite a few times, and I think as I've gotten a little bit older, maybe a little bit, I'll go wiser. I'm just picking and choosing my spots more discriminately. But then my second thought is, no, it's kind of what I'm known for, and it's because it's what I enjoy. I enjoy not awkward conversation. I enjoy rich conversation. It doesn't have to be super deep, but I do want to say something meaningful and see if anybody will volley it back. And I'll do it for 2.5 minutes. I don't mind. I don't feel compelled to talk about, the storms from 2 weeks ago for 2.5 minutes. And if I have to be the awkward guy, I'll be the awkward guy. Now, awkward can take so many other shades as well. I get that, but that's kind of my first thought on that one.
So let me run you through that gauntlet again. Let's kill sports. Let's take out weather. Let's set education to the side. What are we talking about in a lunch meeting at school?
You're looking for a specific example? Is that what you just asked me
Yeah.
for? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Anything else? Everything else? If you want me to say the thing, right? Do you know the person right next to you in this scenario?
Oh, sure.
Or are they an acquaintance? Or are they a stranger? Because I think all three of those depends.
Let's say they're just one of those faces in the old teacher's lounge that you probably know them a little bit. They're probably in there every day, whether you engage them directly or not.
Yeah.
You bump into them a lot.
Okay, I got you. Hey, how's your semester going? Right?
Yeah.
First layer question. So this is still just, it could be, yeah, it's all right. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's hard. It's fine. Like all those are pretty pat answers. So then it's the next one. Oh, it's been hard. Tell me something hard. Hey, it's been pretty good. Oh, tell me something pretty good. Just fine. So fine's like right here, like good's right here, and like bad's right here. Like, are you really just kind of right here because you've had some good and some bad? And then if they go with, yeah, both, tell me something good. Tell me something hard. It's always that second layer question that can get you into something more meaningful. And rarely, because those aren't yes or no questions, and they're not one word questions. They're open-ended. How are you really questions? But you're just asking for one thing. I don't know how or where or who. I wish I could give credit where credit is due, but somewhere along the way, I learned to just put that one, hey, tell me one pretty good thing right now. Since you said things are pretty good. Just one. And then you kind of discern the moment of like, yeah, that they want to engage. Then you can share something of your own, or you can ask for another one. And pretty high percentage, man. People step into that. They lean into that. They appreciate it.
Yeah.
But there is that awkward element to that. And I don't mind being that guy that creates maybe some of that awkward tension so that something more meaningful can be created. Like Sawsville being Sawsville. Take that as a compliment.
Yeah.
And it's not always meant to be a compliment. I know it. But I'll take the more, here's 2 more words, optimistic and whimsical. Any whimsy in your life?
What's whimsical?
Just kind of carefree. It certainly isn't over-analyzing. It's not even analyzing. It's just kind of free-flowing. You'll just take whatever comes your way, just go with it.
I don't know that I have a lot of that in my personality, but it's definitely there. I don't know. It's like, I'm not sure how much I've allowed that to be a thing for me.
There's this fella by the name of Bob Goff. You know that name?
I just know
Love
because he
does.
said it before.
Yeah. He's all about whimsy. He is all about just whatever the day brings. I mean, that's some Jesus teaching right there. And it's embracing that. And, for folks like us who, we're naturally bent towards, what is this situation? How should this situation be handled? Who should I approach first? what should be the first thing I say? Because for every first I say, there's a second thing, and there's probably a sixth thing. And are we going to get to that sixth thing, or can we maybe shut this thing down at 4? Is that what's needed, or does it need to go to 8? I mean, like, we're analyzing.
Yeah.
Whimsy would be like, maybe I don't need to say nothing to nobody, which I think both of us have a little bit of that in there. That's discernment, that's reading the room, that's understanding the situations, who we're with. Do these folks that we're hanging out with have ears to hear? Because if they don't, then no matter what I say, it doesn't mean much at all. See, I don't even think that's whimsy.
Is that the root word, whimsy?
Yeah, whimsical.
Yeah.
Not a fun word.
Yeah. I'm about to study some more about it.
How about then just optimistic? Optimism.
Oh, God. Are you kidding me? Press pause.
A few moments later.
So we back on or what?
Hang on a second. Are you recording right now?
I put the red button back on.
Okay. Yeah, I'm back on. What were we talking about?
I don't know, but it's now 65 and you're going 47.
All right. Gosh. So we're driving a 4-lane highway. It's one of those highways that goes from 45 to 55 to 65 to 45. And
shout out to Van Buren County.
Shout out to the Spencer, Tennessee Police Department, who just flipped on me and almost flipped their car turning around on me. And pulled me over and so graciously gave me a warning.
Yeah.
Even though they probably should have wrote me a ticket.
Yes.
Feel like an idiot, but so what? There it is. I may edit this out later.
Didn't we just talk about not giving a crap at what people think? Whether it's police officers in the speed limit?
No, you just talked about not caring. You just talked about not giving a crap.
Oh, that's just me. That wasn't an hour conversation.
No, I don't care what people think about me getting pulled over.
Well, then don't edit it out.
We'll see.
I don't know.
Well,
there may be more edits. I feel so tired. I know I've slurred like 4 different words.
What is the speed limit right now?
65.
Are you sure?
Yes, you're going 56. You get pulled over for going too slow.
Nobody pulls you over and says, "Hey, good job. You're going 5 under." You know. They are. I mean, we've passed 3 police cars since I stopped.
Well, remember he just said there.
Yeah, he
click
said
it or
there
ticket
in
campaign.
a click it or ticket campaign. I'm glad we had our seatbelts on. Drive sober, safe. What is it? They say on the announcements at school.
I'm not going to repeat it. I'm going to make sure you know it.
I don't. Drive safe. Buckle up. Phone down. Drive safe and sober.
Good job.
Yeah, that's the one.
You're still going 6 under the speed limit.
Well, that's the way it's just going to be for a minute, man. I'm just making sure I'm not drawing anyone's attention.
You told Valerie to hurry on the phone.
Well, yeah. I mean, that guy's only going to give me like a reasonable. Oh, you go. Okay, let's add that to our listeners too. Hey, I didn't have a current insurance card in the car with me, so I had to call my wife and say, "Hey, can you send me a picture of an insurance card?" She's like, "Yeah, I'll send you one." And I was like, "Okay, hurry up, please." And she did literally almost instantly. She
did.
Sent me
She
a
was
picture.
Johnny on the spot. MVP.
So that was solid.
Good job,
Good
Val.
job, Val. I guess I should update her that I'm not getting a ticket.
Yeah, that would be.
That'd be pretty nice of me, wouldn't it?
Hello.
Hey,
Hey.
thanks for the insurance card. He gave me a warning.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I was like, oh God, he's gonna get a ticket.
19 over, Valerie. 19.
He's over here gaslighting me like, oh my God.
You were going 19 over?
Yes, the speed limit was 45, and literally within like 500 yards, it changed to 65. I would have been doing one under if he would have just let me go a little.
What town are you in?
Spencer. That's in Van Buren County.
Is that where we got a ticket before?
Oh my God.
Which time?
No, I'm on 111 coming in like the top side of Dunlap.
Oh.
All right. Well, I was just going to tell you thanks.
Oh, you're welcome.
Love you, bye.
Love you, bye.
The last word on the list is optimism. That's what we were talking about.
Oh, optimism.
And I was about to say the words optimism, optimistic, pessimistic, or realistic. Or do we get to apply again? It depends. Who are you, Matt Pierce?
I'm not pessimistic.
Have you ever been in Eeyore?
Say that again.
Eeyore? You ever been in Eeyore?
Sure. Yeah, so much to the point.
What's that depend on? How'd you get there?
A lot of it is the people that you're around. If you're around people that'll allow you to be Eeyore, you will naturally, at times, fall.
Yeah, but Eeyore is around like Pooh Bear and Piglet, man.
Yeah, but also, I'm not living in a cartoon. If I'm around Pooh Bear and Piglet, I am not Eeyore. You know what I mean?
You turn into Pooh Bear?
I don't know.
Good job. I was going to see how far
You're
take
killing me with the
honeysuckles. Might as well bring those back. All right, so you're not a pessimist.
No, but I do have, there are times where I have to say, like, all right, if I see this person today, I'm just going to try to say something positive and move on. Because that person is an Eeyore, and if I'm not careful, I'm just agreeable enough to be like, yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I know what you mean. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. That's tough temptation.
Yeah, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to do it.
If you're a contrarian, you wouldn't have a problem with that.
Well, I'm not a contrarian.
I know. That's why I said it.
Yeah.
But you said the phrase, I'm just agreeable enough. And basically, you're confessing that you could get yourself into some, oh my word, how did I just get into this situation with this person? Because that conversation, they just took and twisted it, and now they're including me into their view of the world. You ever been in that one before?
Yeah.
Just because you were too agreeable in that moment? Yeah,
I think so. There's people in my life that they're those people that they'll string together a list of ideas, and they're all like vomit, just negative, and they'll say, "Isn't that right? You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Is that right?" And so many times I've had to be like, I don't know, because I don't want to be like. There was one time. Here's an example of a time that I was not agreeable and it bit me. This guy used to come to work every morning. I'd be like, "Good morning, man." He'd be like, "Nah, what's so good about it?" I mean, I have
and he was being sincere.
He's being sincere.
Yeah.
I worked with that guy. And one morning, this is years of working together, I come in and I'm like, "Hey, good morning, man." He was like, "No, it's not a good morning." And I was like, my God, dude, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. What could be so freaking bad? Tell me what's so bad. And he said, "My wife's car burst into flames last night, and I've been dealing with the insurance company all morning." And I was like, "God, man, I'm sorry."
You win.
I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, but didn't you just say that guy's that all the time?
He was that all the time. You'd be riding down the road, and he had all these, of course, this he's the exception. He's not the rule, but he'd be like, "I feel like there's just a cloud following me around."
Yeah, that's Eeyore stuff, man.
It's bad. Yeah.
Okay, so slide other people. Okay, you have visions, you have ambitions, you've got plans, you're motivated. So are you a pragmatist, realist, You said you weren't a pessimist. Are you an optimist? I mean, are you super hopeful? Do you lean into those expectations? Or are you just kind of, I'm gonna grind this out. Keep my nose to the grindstone and only look up every once in a while, just to make sure I'm still on the right path. I mean, like, I don't know how many other scenarios I could draw right there. There's nothing specific.
I mean, for the things that I currently do, I am definitely a grind this out guy. And
is that being an optimist is where I'm going with it.
Yeah. No, I don't think that's the definition of being an optimist at all. But given a certain context, it could be considered optimistic. I mean, my grind is a system to get to some place that I'm not currently. And if I didn't believe that I was going to get there, I wouldn't be grinding. That'd just be a waste of
optimism,
time.
cockiness from the outside sometimes. Arrogance. Can it be perceived that way? So now we're bringing those people that we just slid to the side, and we're bringing them back into the space.
I think the number one misconception of optimism could be ignorance.
Okay. I see that. Naivete. Is that where you're going with that?
Yeah. Naive. Yeah, for sure. Gosh, what's the speed limit?
It's not 71. Put the cruise control on. There you go. Now we're ready.
But I don't know. I don't know if there is an answer for who am I in that regard. I think it's one of those, it depends. I want to say that I am an optimist. There's times when I have to fake that, and I have to really move with intention to keep myself in a place like that. So, but I'm also not Eeyore. Does that put me as a realist?
Oh, you got me thinking, like, so does optimism feed the vision, or do you have to feed the optimism? Because the vision is clear.
Well, whether the vision's clear or not, in my mind, the vision comes before the outlook. Because you heard me mention a second ago, in the things that I do, I'll put my nose to the grindstone. But then there's these things that I want to do that nobody around me has done. Now, I am naturally an optimist. I believe in myself to the point I have to check my self-awareness and say, can I really do this? But, as we spoke yesterday, there's times where I've had a sort of a run of confidence or cockiness, whatever you want to call it, and I had no foundation to have it, and it ended up working out. I faked it until I made it, and I didn't even realize that's what I was doing. I didn't even have the awareness to know how overconfident I was.
So if I throw the name James Clear out to you, do you recognize that name?
It rings a bell, but I don't know why.
Because he's the Atomic Habits guy.
Yeah, for sure.
Talked about a bunch.
Yeah.
So, I subscribe to his newsletter. I would advise anybody else to do so. He always gives a 1, 2, 3, and his first, he gets just 3 things from his thoughts, 2 thoughts from other people, and then 1 question to consider. And the one thing that I read today before we even started this, your first task, and he means like in achieving success, however you're defining what success is define what feels effortless to you. Your second task is to put maximum effort into it. So when you say things like, maybe I'm overconfident. Well, maybe, whether it was intentional or not, you found what feels effortless to you. You found that groove. You found that thing that you do, and time does not exist because whether it's innate within you or you have just been doing it all these years and now it's just become a part of who you are. Yeah, first task complete. Now it's how do you harness to an eventual harvest by putting maximum effort into the thing that comes so effortless to you. There's a grind to the effortlessness. Seeing his connection there, I've been thinking about this. This isn't the first time he's said something, and I've read the book, I've listened to his master class, and his stuff resonates. I take notes on it. I revisit those notes. I try to revisit my own atomic habits, which his concept is it's the teeniest of the tiniest of things that we do every day intentionally that adds up, or the teeniest of tiniest things that we continue to do, aware or unaware, that adds up into some other place that knocks us out of neutral and into some more negative balance sheet. Find what feels effortless to you is the first task. And now focus on that as the next task to put maximum effort into. I've watched you do this with our podcasting, man. I mean, for us to do this and it's effortless. It's just, we're not working hard to chat it up with one another. You sent me something, I threw these back at you in pairs of eventually twos and, some threes. That's not the hard part. But now the second task is, so what are we going to do with this information?
Well, let me tell you where I got it.
Sure.
I stole that from a YouTube video. That's a screenshot of a YouTuber that is a massive social media person, someone who is into brand building and talking to cameras and microphones. And they put that list up and they say, figure out which one of these you just do and lean into it and do it. Because that's how they're literally putting sort of a how-to guide into just being you. First of all, figure out who you are. What personality traits come through when you speak with people or you interact with people.
So sarcasm may be my brand. High energy may be my brand. Optimism may be my brand. Raw may be my brand. Is that where they're going with this?
It could be a big part of your brand, yeah. Figure out which one of these things you're doing naturally. You don't have to put on an act to be thoughtful. You find that you're just a thoughtful guy. Well, lean into thoughtfulness as you communicate, whether it be to people or to a camera or to a microphone. So it's cool that you would bring James Clear into that without even knowing where I got that.
Where'd you get it from?
That list?
Yeah.
I don't remember the creator I got it from. They popped up that list, and it looked to me to be a pretty good list.
Yeah.
So I just went back and screenshotted it, and I knew that I would bring it up in conversation with you on a microphone one day, and here we are coming into North Dunlap, Tennessee.
To me, that sounded like North Atlanta. It's urban sprawl.
We're about to come into the Dunlap bypass. No. You ever spend any time in Dunlap?
Quality time? No. Have I passed through here on this road? Many times.
Mark Wills. You familiar with that name?
Steve Wills.
He's a local guy. He's a really talented country singer. You ever hear the song about the little girl at school? And the chorus is like, don't laugh at me. Don't call me names. You ever heard that? Don't get your pleasure from my pain. No? It's a great song.
So
That's Mark Wills. He came over to Dunlap one time and sang the 4th of July in the park. And then they had fireworks afterward. Me and Val and Kyler came over here. Sun drop everywhere, man.
Of course. No Mountain Dew.
No. Mountain Dew and Meliella turn into sun drop when it crosses Cagle Mountain on Highway 111.
Oh, man. I love my Tennessee life. I
Uh,
really do.
yeah. Think we're pressing pause on this?
I think so, man. I worked that list.
I think my biggest regret was pausing it during that traffic stop.
You did tell him we were doing a podcast. That's how you got distracted.
If I would have known it was going to go that well, I would have probably kept it rolling. I did not want the listeners to hear me.
You weren't very optimistic in that moment, were you?
I was not up. No. Listen, man, he flipped on me like I robbed a bank.
I know.
And
You've used a different analogy every time you've said that.
I know. But, yeah, anyway, he did me a huge favor, and I appreciate it. And I will always admire the Spencer, Tennessee Police Department. All right, man, let's press pause.
Man, that's downright mindful. You've been listening to Downright Mindful with your hosts, Matt Paris and Paul Salzville. Produced by Josh Morris. Intro and outro production by Derek Kinsey. You can find us wherever fine podcasts are downloaded. Thanks for listening.